guys, so what we are going to do at this moment, remember how we had those floppy bits on the bottom part of the fin? Now I think I'm going to work on getting those coated with silicone so that they have their own little fluttery life at the bottom. So I figure I will just lay my plastic down as close to the edge as I can, stretch those out. Like that, and then I will just lightly coat them, much the way I've been coating the top part here. So yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. And then once it's done, then I'll be able to just peel those off the plastic and do the other side. So that's the plan. Maybe we'll end up getting both sides at the same time. Who's to say? Okay, so here's what I have been doing on the back of the tail. You know, we started out with like 4 triangles of fabric that I'm going to turn into little fins that will be on the bottom side of the tail. So they started out just plain fabric. What I've done is on one side of each of the triangles is I've just put a light coating of the silicone. Once that dries, then, so like this side here, this is dry. What I did then was I flipped it over, and because the one layer of silicone on this side kind of keeps the silicone from soaking all the way through, I put a heavier coating on the opposite side, and also a bit of a border, a heavy border around the edge. So I've got kind of a scale pattern happening there. And then I'm going to go back and do the heavier coating as well on the other side, the one that has already had sort of like a base coating on it. So I have already done heavy coating. That's just the base, that's just the base, that's heavy, that's the base, that's heavy. This is just the base, and I'm going to do the heavier coating on this one. And then start doing the other sides of everything. So yeah, what I think is going to happen, so what I do is I put them down on the plastic, and then I just pipe a larger section along the edge. And then because it's not sticking to the plastic, when I peel it off, you can see where it overlaps. It just makes kind of a nice edge. So when I do that on both sides, I'm going to have a heavier edge there, and it should give it kind of a nice flap when it's in the water, because it won't just be limp, it'll actually have some resistance too. But both sides will get that same kind of treatment. So yeah, that is what I'm about. Okay, and I don't have my plastic snugged right up to the edge because there's some spots in here that I can actually put some extra silicone in, and it will be perfectly fine. Yeah, let's go again. And that's the end of another tube. Okay, so seeing how this is all going, I've just put my next balloon in at the right measurement, and I thought I was going to have both of these just as triangle flap kind of things, but I think what I would really like is to kind of cut this piece out here. So it's just more of a loosely attached triangle without the whole bottom piece. And then I think it'll just kind of fan out a little bit nicer in the water. So I'm gonna leave a little bit of this fabric here because I'm putting some silicone in there to reinforce my stitching. But other than that, I think I'm just going to trim it up. There, so I will have more of this shape of fin instead of just a hunk of fabric. So I'll just flip it over, try and match up what I've done on the other side. And again, close but not too close. Okay. So we'll have two fins. I think those will end up being just right around the back of where my knees kind of fit, or potentially it's sort of the bottom of my thigh. So those are going to end up being covered just like the fins on the back side, the underside of the flipper. So that's what's going to happen to these too. But for now, I'm just going to work on continuing sort of the first coat of buttering. We'll call it buttering. Buttering the surface of the tail. And as you can see over here, the last part where I was doing all the sort of like the scaling on this, I ran out of silicone, so now I'm just going to put the finishing bead around the edge of this before I move up to buttering that part. Just want to make sure I get this whole seam sort of reinforced with the silicone. Just work it all in there. And I'm going to go back after everything has had sort of its first coat, and then I'll do its scaling over top of the fabric that already has a bit of structure to it. I'm really pleased with the way the balloon is actually working inside. All I'm doing is I've got the measurements written right on the tail as to what circumference I need, and then I take a balloon and if I need, say, 65 centimeters as a circumference, I make the loop with the tape measure and then blow the balloon up right inside of this, and then I tie it off, put it in a plastic bag and stuff it in, and then just remeasure to make sure I've got it in the right spot. So it's working super slick. I'm really pleased with that. So yeah, once again, we'll let it set up and we will be back later. These are the fins on the back part of the underside of the tail. So remember we had done a skim coat on one side, then like a scale coating on this side, and then what the plan is to flip it back over and do a scale coating on the skim side. So I still have to do the second coat there and there and there. But this one has had the scale coating on both sides, and it just flaps so nicely and it feels really cool too. So I'm pretty pleased with that. Yeah, it even kind of like flops around and bounces. I like it. So I'm going to do the exact same thing to the fins that are higher up. I think my knees kind of end up here. This is the back still. So this is going to be sort of on my lower thigh where these are going to like fan out like that. So I've already got the skim coat on one side, on each side, and next thing I'm going to do is give it a flip and do the scale coating on the opposite side. Let that dry, flip this one over, do the scale coating on this side, let that dry, flip it back, and then do the scale coatings on both of those. So those should end up having the same sort of movement and bounce and flexibility as this. So I am super psyched about that. I think that's going to be awesome. Also, I've got a fair amount of the initial buttering done. We are probably, I don't know, 2/3 of the way up. And this is, I'm pretty pleased with this. This isn't taking very much silicone for just this super light coating. And all it's really doing is helping it to hold its shape a little bit. So yeah, pretty pleased with that. I think this is actually working out, which is good because it's sunny out there. The pool is open. It's cold, but it's getting there. So yeah, thanks. Later.